we'll gather around, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So what we are going to do today is I found this gorgeous like pumpkin sunflower fabric at Walmart recently, and I thought that this would make a really cute box lid for this box mold that I have. So we're gonna play around with it today. Now the first thing I did was I just kind of opened it up and found the part of the fabric that I wanted to use as the top of my box lid, and just cut it out, cut it down to size, straighten it out as much as possible. Now, if it's a little bit off, it's fine because I am going to kind of hide the edges later on as we get kind of farther into it. So it's not a huge deal. Now, what we're going to do next is, after kind of get it all in shape, and I have learned from the last time I made this box that this is the right way up and not upside down like I did it last time. What I want to do is I kind of want to do something a little bit special with this. Now, first I've got some deco art. Now, this is a multi-purpose sealer. It does not say that it's for fabric, but I kind of wanted to try it anyway just to see. So I just took some and I'm going all over this piece of fabric with it. And hopefully by doing this, it'll eliminate like the resin kind of turning the fabric colors as it sometimes can. Not sure. Like I said, I've not used it before and it does not specify that it's for fabric. So we're just going to kind of see. All right. So I've got the fabric completely covered. Now I want to highlight certain areas with some glitter. So for this, I have like a kind of burnt orange hollow glitter that's like the really extra super ultra fine. And I'm just going to kind of highlight the lines of the pumpkin and where the darker shades of orange are with this glitter. And I did mix it in with the sealer. Now I'm kind of using this like I would my gloss varnish. I'm assuming it's something very similar. It's going to kind of glue it on to it, and we'll go from there. And then I'm going to use, it's a darker green, kind of the same thing, ultra fine hollow powder that I'm just going for again with the green spots on some of these pumpkins and whatnot. And then we're going to go in with brown and highlight the sunflower, like that middle part, and just some other areas. Now, this brown that I'm using, it says it's an extra fine brown, but it's really, it's not. So the coverage that I'm getting with it, I don't like it as much as I do the other two. I kind of wish I would have used the other brown glitter I had, but you live and you learn. Or even gone back and added some of that brown glitter to it. I think it would have just been a little bit better. But anyway, it's done, so it is what it is. After I kind of do all of this, we're going to set that off to the side and let that dry. Now, here it is, dried. This is 24 hours later. So what I want to do now is I mixed up a little bit of my Let's Resin Fast Cure resin, and I have some of the epoxy resin setting off to the side. For the Fast Cure, I am going to add a little bit of Rolio's Green Walnut and a little bit of the Gold Sand by Rolio, and a little bit in each cup. Now, the green I'm doing a lesser amount of. I just kind of want to add just some green tint to it. I don't want the green overtaking it. I really want to focus on this kind of yellow color that I've got going in here. And I think that as far as with the colors of just the pumpkins and stuff like that, like it'll go ish, hopefully. It's the closest colors I had. The orange that I have was too orangey, and the brown's just meh. I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna go with it and see what happens. Now, for the Fast Cure, that is what is going in this lid, and that is because I don't have all day to wait to kind of add the fabric part to this. I want to wait for it to get to that kind of stacky stage, tacky stage, where I can just lay the fabric down and I don't have to worry about it going underneath the resin or any of that, or applying some kind of adhesive to get it onto it. It'll just kind of set and do its thing on there, and then we can add the next layer. We're just going to use normal epoxy for the box because I'm not adding any fabric to it, so it doesn't matter. It can take the 24 hours to fully cure. It's fine. So I added in my yellow, going in with the heat gun just to pop bubbles, going around all my 90-degree edges just to make sure that I don't get any air bubbles trapped on those corners and edges and all that fun stuff. And now we're just going to kind of drizzle in some of this green. Now, hindsight, I'm doing all of this, right? And one day I will learn. I promise I will. The color's not going to go towards the bottom. I should have added a little bit of green first and then put my yellow on. That would have been the smarter thing to do, because what I really want is that green to go to the underside of the box so that when you open the lid, you can see it in there and it's not just a straight yellow piece, because the box isn't going to be straight yellow. That's not what I got. So I have the green, but it's going to be covered with the fabric. So I kind of did it a little backwards, but I as I was doing this, after I had already poured the yellow, and I started thinking, and that's why I lifted it up to see if you could even see the green after I mixed it, and you can't. But it is what it is. It's already done, so we're just going to let that sit off for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, until it gets to that stage where we can add the fabric. Now going in, and again, I split it up just predominantly more of the yellow than the green, because I don't want the green to overtake, and I have a feeling that it will. I cannot speak today. I mean, oh my. Anyway, now going in with the yellow, and then this time I did learn, and I am going to, after I mix this up, I'm going to go in with my green first and kind of just haphazardly put it in there so that as I pour the yellow, I'll get kind of, I don't want necessarily a marbling, but I do want to be able to kind of see kind of like a blend between the two colors, if that makes sense. And if you're wondering why I've got the popsicle sticks around, this mold, when I purchased it, did not come with a kind of like one of those like how the box things, the little wooden things. Oh my god. Like a mold, not a mold housing ish, I guess, maybe. I don't know. To hold my mold in place. You know, like, oh my god. Today is not the day for words for me. Anyway, so I decided that because my mold is misshapen, that maybe if I put a rubber band around it and add some of these craft sticks and kind of to hold it into place more, and maybe the tension on it will keep it from bowing out so much. We're going to try it and see how it works out. I've not tried this before, so I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, back to what I'm doing. I am just going in and I am alternating the green and the yellow, not really mixing them up, just kind of throwing it in and then pouring the next color on top of it, just so that it kind of organically mixes on its own. Of course, me being me, I didn't make enough, so I did have to make a little bit more, and we're going to go in and do the same thing. Now, I did make sure after I poured that first little bit in that I did go around the inside of the box, the outer edge as well as the inner edge with my dotting tool to release any bubbles that may be trapped there. And then now we're just going to fill it up. And then I'm going to take a while to put a whole lot of popsicle sticks around this thing to hopefully keep it in line and from bowing out, but we'll see. I know that because I didn't purchase this on Amazon, and I know that Amazon's comes with the little kind of like the brackets that you can put around it that will help it keep its shape. I didn't realize that when I bought this one, it didn't have it until after the fact, and I started having the issue with the mold bowing. So it is something that when you get molds like this, if you're looking at a couple different places, make sure that you buy the one that comes with it, because if it comes with it, it's coming with it for a reason. And, it may be better to pay that couple extra dollars in price to get something that it's going to last you longer than this is lasting me. Because at this point, I'm about to buy another one just because I'm having so many issues with every time I make it. I've only made like 3 or 4 of them, and that's it. So that's a problem for me. So I am going in on the bottom, just kind of swirling it a little bit to get some movement in there. And then we're just going to kind of hit it with the heat gun and let this baby cure. Now, I will spend quite a while fooling with these craft sticks, trying to get them to hold this in place and stand up and do what it needs to do so that it's not bowing out. Eh, way too much time for not a great result. I'm sure maybe, I don't know. There's a better way of doing it than this, but I figured I'd try it because it was the easiest way and I was being lazy. So we're gonna see. And I just kind of doubled and tripled and quadrupled them in certain areas until I thought that it was kind of, and I mean, it looks pretty decent, but there is some waviness. Now, it could be that I had it too far in. I don't know anymore. I tried. It didn't work. I mean, all in all, it's still a functioning box, so it'll be fine. Okay, so about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, this is tacky, so now it's time to lay this on. Now, of course, I didn't quite cut it down to the right size. I should have taken off a little bit more. I do have to go in and kind of pull it up on one edge to get it to kind of do that. This is the first time I've actually ever tried it this way. Typically, if I am adding something in like this, I wait until it's fully cured and I just glue it on or use some Mod Podge or something like that. So it's kind of a learning curve for me, and I'm not gonna lie, you can't tell on video. At least I can't on the tiny little screen that I'm looking at, but it's bumpy, and all kinds of stuff is going on there. Like, it's not smooth at all. And yeah, so it's can't necessarily tell in the finished piece, but whatever. All right, so I need to cover these edges. I do have some resin that keeps coming up over from me pushing on it too much. And I want to hide the hard edges of the fabric. So I am going in with some kind of burnt orange glitter washi tape. And it's a thinner one. And it's not going to stick. Like, there's just no hope for that. But we're going to try and get it in here as flat as possible. And then I don't want to just pour my clear coat over top of it, because the washi tape is just going to float, or I'm going to get huge bubbles. Like, I can already see this happening. So what I decide to do after I'm kind of done getting it all laid out is I'm going to take a little bit of my NicPro UV resin. And I mean, when I'm saying a little bit, I mean the littlest of bits, because I don't want to wait for it to completely, like, to put glue down. I don't want to wait for it to dry. Like, I just, I don't. So I am going to get some UV resin, and then I'm just going to, in the thinnest of thin layers, kind of take it over that washi tape, seal those edges down, make it as flat as humanly possible on this lumpy kind of surface that I've got going on here, and then go over it with my light. Now, will it work? I'm not sure, but that's what we're going to try. And I am making it really, really thin so that I don't have to wait and pull out my big light to get it to cure, and I don't want to have any issues with it anywhere. So we're just going to kind of put it on, and then I'm just going to keep going over it with my silicone tool to make it flat, because it keeps wanting to kind of bubble up because my surface is not flat. But I think it'll be fine. So that's what I'm going to do right now, and then we are going to go ahead and pour our clear coat over top, and then that's pretty much it. I am pouring it and kind of going over it with my heat gun just to pop any bubbles, because I did mix this crazy fast again. I've gotten a lot better about it, but occasionally I do go faster than I should, but it'll be fine. Now, on the big pumpkin, there are a couple spots, and you can already see it forming, where the resin, I guess when I sealed it, I didn't do a good enough job, and it's just right there on that pumpkin. It's only a handful of spots, but I don't know if I didn't put enough of the sealer in, or if it's just not good for fabric whatsoever. So it's worth another shot just to see, but whatever. All right, so here we go with the box, and you can kind of see I pointed out where it is kind of curvy still. I'm just going to have to get a new box, I think. That's just all there is to it. And then here is the lid. Now, it doesn't look as bad as I thought that it was going to. I really thought that where the fabric laid in there on top of that other layer, that I was going to be able to see the edges. I am still going to cover them. Now, I struggled with this. Like, I'm not even going to lie. I tried I think it's a U-Mark. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and look at the brand. The chrome colored or copper colored marker, and it just would not, like, and it's brand new. I don't even know if I've used it, but maybe once, like, that's it. But it did not want to work for me. So I tried this one. Now, this is just an acrylic marker, and it was all fine and good on one side. I figured, okay, I'll have to go over it with another coat, because it's looking kind of like you can see the streaks and whatever. And then, like, it just stopped. And I've never even used this one before. So I don't know what its deal is, but we're going to have to figure something else out. But in the meantime, while I try and decide what it is that I'm going to do with that, we're going to move on to the next step. Now, initially, and the reason I have my rhinestones out, is I was going to put some rhinestones on the lid because I feel like it just needs something else. Like, the box is pretty, the lid's pretty, it needs something else though. And then I remembered I had these, and I kind of think that they would look cool. And at first I was like, is it really going to go? But then there is a mushroom actually in this fabric. It's down at the bottom now. You can't really see it anymore because the washi tape is covering it. But there are mushrooms in the fabric. So if there's mushrooms in the fabric, then why can't I use these mushrooms on this box? So I'm just going to go through and kind of, I add a pine cone and a little leaf to the top of the box just because I can, and why not? And then we're just going to go around the sides of the box, and we are going to kind of decorate it up with some of this greenery and the mushrooms, and just kind of see what we can come up with on it and how it's going to turn out. And I am going to kind of overlap some of them just to kind of get some dimension and some depth in there. And I think all in all, it'll be pretty good. Now, I've only used these one other time, and that was in those bookends that I've done. And I think I only used like one, maybe two, if that. So I'm not really sure how they work outside of resin. Like, I'm going to assume that they'll probably scrape off fairly easily. And that if you're going to do something like this on top of it, you would probably want to seal it with something, some kind of a sealer, just to kind of get those on there really nice, and then you're not going to have to worry about it coming off over time, getting scratched, being used, and all that other stuff. I did not do it for this video, but I would think that that's something that you would probably want to do. We're not going to use the rhinestones. We're just going to kind of go with this and let it do its thing. Now, for around the edges of the lid, I did end up taking my original, not the one that I used, but the U-Mark or whatever brand it is. And how I do, like when I use my black or my gold sometimes, where I will kind of put it on my craft stick and just let the ink run out and then paint it on. That's what I ended up doing around the edges of this. Now, I showed this to my husband yesterday, and he said that he likes them separately, but he doesn't think that the bottom of the box goes along with the top part, and he thinks that I should add just at the corners of the sides of the box, that I should add that kind of coppery paint pen to the sides as well to make it look like it is actually supposed to go with it. So let me know what your thoughts are on that. And if you guys think that that's something that I should do, then maybe I'll go back and just kind of add that on there. I'm not really sure. I can see it, but I don't know. Let me know. Does it look like it's two separate things, or does it look like it does go together? Anyway, as I finish this up, that's a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will catch you on Thursday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong. Together we belong. In every comment, right? You lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue elephant crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care. Likes and shares, they grow. You make the channel glow. Every single view, I owe it all to you. Blue elephant crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share,